Welcome to GDs. And this is Russian Doll Season 1. Season starts with Nadia, a software engineer, looking at herself in the mirror in the washroom. And we find that it's her 36th birthday. And the party is organized by her friend Maxine, in her apartment. And at the party, Nadia meets Mike, a college literature professor. And they get out from the party to hook up. And Nadia, on her way, stops at a deli. It is here she spots a drunk guy. And as she thinks of approaching him to help him out, she gets distracted. And when she looks back, the drunk guy is gone. Nadia and Mike make out at Nadia's house. And we also learn that Nadia's cat, Oatmeal, is missing. Nadia calls a cab for Mike. And she goes out looking for Oatmeal. And as she spots Oatmeal and goes to catch her, she is hit by a cab and dies. But Nadia finds herself back in Maxine's washroom. Nadia is confused and still processing what has happened. And with the events repeating, she thinks it to be a déjà vu, and this time, she waits at the party instead of hooking up with Mike. And we get to meet Ruth, a therapist and close family friend of Nadia, who helped her growing up after her mother passed away. And we find that it's a tough birthday for Nadia, as her mother died before turning 36. Nadia's memory of her being hit by the car are quite strong for her. And she can't help shake the feeling that she is dead. And as she tries to process it, we get to meet John, a real estate agent, and Nadia's ex-boyfriend. And we find out that he is in the process of divorcing his wife, because he fell in love with Nadia. And Nadia broke up with him, as she got cold feet, right before meeting his daughter. Nadia tells him what happened. And though he doesn't believe her, but decides to help her out to find Oatmeal. And as she finds Oatmeal, John saves him from getting hit by a car. And John, realizing that she doesn't want to get back with him, decides to leave. Whereas, Nadia goes to get Oatmeal from the park. And as Nadia catches Oatmeal and sits with him, thinking what has been happening, she suddenly realizes that Oatmeal is gone. And she, in a panic, falls in the river and dies. But Nadia finds herself back in Maxine's washroom. And Nadia thinks that it's the drugs which she smoked from Maxine has caused her to be stuck in this time loop. And she walks out of the party. Nadia, determined to find what Maxine got, goes to meet her drug dealer, and finds that he sourced it from a new supplier. But before she could learn more, she gets a call from John, and he is upset with Nadia not being present at her party. And Nadia wants him to move on. And as they argue, Nadia falls and dies. Nadia finds herself back in Maxine's washroom. And this time, she directly goes to Maxine's drug dealer. And she finds that the drug is not cocaine, but ketamine. And now, she knows that this time loop is not caused by the drugs. And as she thinks, she sees Ferran, the deli owner, escorting the drunk man she first saw. But before she could get to them, she falls again and dies. And Nadia is back again in Maxine's washroom. Frustrated, Nadia tries to get out of the party. But she falls from stairs multiple times. And finds herself back in the washroom every time. And being frustrated, she even fights with Maxine on few occasions. She finally gave up, trying to get out of the party. And in the morning, when she wakes up, she decides to use the fire escape to get out of the apartment. Nadia goes to Ruth this time and tries explaining what has been happening with her. And Ruth, thinking it to be a mental issue, asks her to go to the hospital. And on her way, Nadia realized that she might be forced to take sedatives. And thus she tries to get out of the ambulance, but the ambulance meets an accident. And Nadia is back in Maxine's washroom. Nadia, now thinking that this might be because of the building. And thus she tries to find its history. And to know more about the building, she goes to a local synagogue. But she is not allowed to talk with the rabbi. And thus, she requests John to help, and asks him to ask the rabbi few of the questions which she provides him. And John decides to help her out. As John gets out from the synagogue, he is quite upset with the kind of question Nadia had. And as both of them talk, they ended up sleeping with each other. And John tells Nadia that the building is not haunted, and there is no story associated with the building. And as John gets a bit emotionally invested with Nadia, Nadia's dismissive attitude pisses him off, and they have a fight. And John leaves, calling her Abyss. Nadia, sad and upset, befriends a homeless man. And learns that he is not in the homeless center, as someone stole his shoes from there, and thus, he doesn't want to go back there. and Nadia spends time with him on the street. But Nadia finds herself back again at Maxine's washroom, realizing that she froze to death this time. And now, she gets out of the party to find the homeless man at the shelter and prevents his shoes from being stolen, and she is successful. And in the morning, as she is leaving, she is in an elevator, which suddenly starts falling. And she notices the man next to him not afraid. And she breaks the news to him that they are about to die. And he tells her, it doesn't matter as he dies all the time. And Nadia realizes that she is not alone in the time loop. And the man next to Nadia was Alan, and we look at his life. And as we go back a day in his life, we find that Alan planned for a vacation with his girlfriend, Beatrice. And on this trip he planned a proposing to her. But Beatrice, before leaving, breaks up with him. And Alan has been stuck in this time loop, wherein he comes back to his washroom just before leaving. And he goes through this routine of breakup every time. We also find that he is friends with Farhan. And on the day of him being in the elevator, he was coming out after seeing his doctor. And in his next loop, after falling from the elevator, he learns that Beatrice has been cheating on him. And she has been involved with her professor, Mike. And they have been dating for a while now. And she wasn't able to tell him this earlier, as he is very sensitive. And she was afraid that he might hurt himself. Knowing the truth, Alan is quite upset. On the other hand, Nadia, knowing someone else to be in a time loop, was able to track him down with the help of the ring box she saw him holding. Nadia catches up with Alan so that they can help each other to break this loop. But Alan was quite happy with the loop so far, as he knew what was going to happen. But because of Nadia being in last loop, something changed. And now he knows that Beatrice had been cheating on him for 9 years. And he blames Nadia for this. Nadia tells him that it's not on her, and explains to him that they are in this together, and lets him know that when he feels like it, he can come see her at her birthday party the next time when his loop resets. Alan goes to Mike and takes out his anger. But the fight is broken, and as Alan makes his way back, he is electrocuted. And he finds himself back in his washroom. Alan goes to Nadia this time, and they brainstorm ideas for why this might be happening to them. And Alan thinks that this might be a purgatory, and they are here as they might be bad people. And Nadia, though not convinced, decides to make amends with John, and wants to meet his daughter and give her a book. Whereas Alan confronts Mike. But they both die multiple times, with Nadia blowing up at Ruth's house, and Alan dying in an accident. And as their loops reset every time, they have started to notice that people are also disappearing in every loop. Nadia was finally able to collect the book, and she goes to meet John's daughter. But she freaked out at the last moment, and was not able to go through with it. And when she meets with Alan, and both of them haven't died, and their number of deaths being the same, they now believe that they always die at the same time. And now, in an effort to find how their life is connected, they decide to retrace how they first died. But Alan couldn't remember it. And Nadia decides that the next time they reset, she will go with him through his first night experience, in order to find how he died. And as they both reset, Alan takes Nadia through his breakup routine, wherein he ends up in a bar, and he doesn't remember anything after that. Nadia also opened up about herself, and she tells Alan the story about her necklace and its exact value. In addition, Nadia also confesses to him about hooking up with Mike on the first night when she died. Alan lets her know that she can do much better than Mike, and they ended up making out at Nadia's home. And as Alan slept, Nadia took his shoes and she gives them to the homeless guy. In addition, she also figured out that Alan and Farhan are friends, and it was him she saw on her first loop. And as she returned, Alan had cleaned her house, and he also took out photos of Nadia with her mom from under her bed and placed them in the room. But this triggered Nadia, and it leads them in an argument. And Nadia asks Alan to leave. And Alan, being upset, ends his life. And at the same time Nadia chokes on a chicken. And this time, when they are back, mirrors are also missing. Nadia goes back to Alan's apartment and apologizes for the fight, and lets him know that she can't do this alone. And Alan confesses to her that he remembers how he died on the first night. And he tells her that he took his own life on his first loop. Nadia lets Alan know that she saw him at the deli when they first died. And if she was not distracted, she might have helped him. And Alan thinks he might have also saved her if he was not so lost. And now, they think that because they were not able to help each other, they are stuck in this loop. And Nadia comes up with a plan. That the next time when the loop resets, they will recreate their first interaction, and meet at the deli and save each other. But Nadia starts to get haunted by her past, and she starts seeing her younger self. And every time she sees her younger self she dies. Nadia, after few attempts, was finally able to make it to the deli, but nothing changed. And Nadia dies again, after seeing her younger self at the deli, and Alan asks her to come to his place next time. And with people disappearing in every loop, it's only Maxine, who is now left at the party. Nadia goes to Alan, and tells him about her visions. And Alan tells her that with people disappearing, they need to make amends, and let go. Not knowing when it will be the last when they see them again. And Alan goes to Beatrice, to finally let her go and move on. And Nadia goes to Ruth, and we find that she was guilt-ridden, about deciding to leave her mother, and live with Ruth. And she thinks that because of this decision, her mother died a year later. But we find that her mother was mentally ill, and was forcing her to live in difficult circumstances. And Ruth had no choice but to take away Nadia from her. And it was never Nadia's choice, so it's not on her. Additionally, Nadia finally goes to meet John's daughter. And she gives Alice her most cherished book, and make amends. And as she passes away this time, she talks with her younger self about being at peace. And letting their mother go. Knowing it was not their fault. And at the same time Alan also dies. And both Nadia and Alan find themselves back in the washroom. With the mirrors and all the people back. Nadia and Alan both go to each other's place, but both of them were not able to find each other. And both knowing the time when they were at the deli, decide to go back there. But it turned out that for both of them it's a different timeline. Alan and Nadia, despite being in separate timeline, decide to help out each other. Alan tries to stop Nadia from hooking up with Mike. And using his knowledge about what Nadia told him about the necklace, tries to convince her that they both are connected. And ended up saving her from being hit by the car. Whereas Nadia, in the other timeline, saves Alan, first from overdosing at the park. And then again by convincing him not to jump from the building. And telling him things will be alright. And in both the timelines, Alan and Nadia become friends. And they decide to walk together. And as the season ends, all four of them, walking in two different timelines, start to merge together. With all of them joining the same parade. And ready for the next chapter. Thanks for watching. And if you liked it, please subscribe.